All right, this is version 2 of The Sims. Actually, version 3, but the first time I didn't hear it properly. Here's the second one where I've had time to think about the speech. All right, so I'd like to speak to you today about our first big achievement, kind of the spark that kind of helped build Europe. It was a collective effort. At its base, it's kind of what or how Europe became to be, and it's based on the roads that lead to Compostela, which are a series of paths, alleyways, if you will, even creeks. You know, natural areas where humans transit through. And these ultimately end up adding up to about 3,500 kilometers. And they kind of roam all over Europe, passing through hamlets, passing through populated areas, passing through holy spots that are known. Then you start getting into Spain, and it's through Catalonia, through the Basque Country, into Galicia, of course. Now, why were these paths built in the first place? Twofold. One, of course, religious. And two, during the Middle Ages, there were pilgrimages in Europe. However, it wasn't really clear where they should go or the destiny. But Santiago, Compostela, for some reason, happened to attract quite a bit of interest. And that interest came with money. So there were investments. But the investments were designed to be, or they were politically motivated in the first place. So during that time, Europe was largely dominated, especially the Iberian Peninsula, by Arab or Moors presence. They also were very present in the Orient at that same time. However, Europe kind of felt disintegrated, and it lacked a common thread or a spine, if you will. It lacked a sense of legal and or cultural unity. So to give this space form, if you will, it was very complicated at that time, because Europe, admittedly, was in the midst of chaos, and it was disorganized. There was disunity. There were 4 main challenges. One were economic, cultural, religious. But the road to Compostela is a manifestation of a desire to kind of find some unity amongst all these and integrate them all, right, into what we know Europe to be today. So in that sense, the people who lived back then had to invent this common project, invent this identity. Eventually, the path kind of faded, but was only rekindled when in 812 there were relics found. And you see, that part is wrong. And then from the 10th to the 14th century, the construction was ongoing. But after the 14th century, interest seemed to wane. There was no trace of a common project anymore. In fact, it was probably replaced by another one, by other empires. A whole host of different factors may have come into play. But the net result is that the route ultimately fell into disarray, almost forgotten. Until the 70s and 80s, post-Franco Spain. And they were interested, the Spaniards, in finding a way to increase the number of tourists, boost their tourism industry. To give you an idea, how abysmal the numbers were. In 1970, there were a mere 68 individuals that walked the route, compared to 2016, where they have approximately 270,000 people registered that either rode a bike, rode a horse, or went on a wheelchair. Those numbers are comparable to another European project that exists, the Erasmus project, which is a university exchange where students go from one country to another. They're also modern day, 2016, 270,000 or so students on exchange programs. Great Britain, large part of the demographic that usually walks the paths of Compostela, but they usually favor the Jacobia path. And I could tell you that no cultural institution that's created could really replace the sharing or breaking of bread, sharing water, and just the general connection that one makes with other people on this path. That's real. And that's kind of what it's all about. Thank you.